Hey everyone, so today's video, as you can see from the title, it's an important topic, it's controversial, it's all the things you need to create a good discussion. And I expect and hope to see a lot of your comments sharing your opinions and thoughts on this subject of corporate animation studios and their live action remakes. But it's definitely divisive as to how people do or do not appreciate those particular films. To say that they don't work, you have to be specific, because by the means of financial gain and the incentive for studios to make these films, these live action remakes, it's definitely a profitable venture for them, and that's why they do it time and time again. I'm trying to remind myself of what kind of fan I am when it comes to the Disney animation landscape. Where do I place myself? The obvious is I grew up in the late 80s, 90s era of Disney, where that's the Disney Renaissance. Some say it's the best era of Disney, but that's subjective. The point is, a lot of those films have been the ones to be made into live action. I'm fully aware that there's a new generation of fresh viewers, some of which are children of people my age, so people like me who grew up with those classics, and they're getting ready to show the next generation somehow bridge their old favorites with what's new and what's theatrically available. I totally get that. You want to bring your family to the theater and you want to see something new for yourself, yet it's familiar enough. The outstanding question then is, and it's a very valid question, is what warrants these live action films to exist? If you're like myself, who I expect more than just fun is becoming a very nasty word in this subject. It reminds me of that saying, the worst thing you could say to someone is good job, because you're not encouraging motivation, improvement. People are getting sensitive, right? It's kind of this modern woke belief of, no, everything, if you think you're perfect, then you are perfect. And it's ridiculous. Why is it too much to ask that a story that's being retold is exploring themes differently, stylistically, it's reinventive? These stories have been told 100 times, 100 different ways. We know that. We know Lion King was Hamlet. There should be an encouragement to bring something new to the table, and Disney, who's the main point of all this, has really banked on their angle that if they just try and make it as realistic as possible, then that's their incentive, their warrant, to make these films. First of all, live action, bull. It's animation, just CGI, which I don't care how many years have passed since Jurassic Park or The Abyss or whatever example you want to use. You're completely depriving the people and yourselves of the charm, the escapism of those original classics. I don't care how realistic the monkey looks. There's no expression, there's no charm to the choreography of these. When you're trying to make it look realistic, it's just not possible. You're taking away the priceless element of those original films. And worse yet, they still try to make shot-for-shot remakes of certain frames, or sometimes the entire film. Sometimes the designs by costume or set design, they're trying to literally translate it into the live action, not realizing it doesn't work. Snow White, aesthetically for animation, worked, but if you try and do that directly into live action, it falls flat somehow. People look back on Disney's 2000, this is a great example, Disney's 2000 dinosaur film. The color palette was hideous. It's one of Disney's worst rated, if not, of animated films. And how different, after almost 20 years, how different is that to Lion King? To me, not so much. And what really got me recently was the announcement a few days ago that DreamWorks is doing a live action How to Train Your Dragon. And I'm not even the biggest fan. It's a great film, great films. I think there's 3 now, and I've seen them all. I want to look at this together and share my thoughts, because what I'm seeing is what I continuously have problems with, these reimaginings of these animated films. Now DreamWorks is doing it, so we're gonna watch it now. Intermittently, we may pause for copyright and stuff. So immediately, within a few frames, you see they're gonna do a shot-for-shot remake, okay? Not only that, you're seeing that they're directly translating the aesthetic and style, because it's familiar, obviously, because duh, that's what we want to see, right? We love the animated film, let's just do it exactly, but real. It may not translate, and it's what gives these live-action remakes from Disney and now DreamWorks a very flat feel, in my opinion.
You carry all of us with you.
Like, that's Gerard Butler apparently, but even that looks kind of fake somehow. And look, it's shot for shot what we're doing here. The dragons. The dragons look like the animated dragons, and they are animated, they're CGI, which obviously they're gonna do. They could do more practical stuff. But then this is just what got me. Everyone's talking like, oh, Toothless that's the best looking Toothless you could do. Why? It just looks like the animated. If I just glanced at that, I couldn't even tell you that's a live action. What they're going for live action, it just doesn't translate. It's weird. It's uncanny. I don't like it. It turns me off. I don't know. I wonder how you feel about it. If you're just super excited because after less than 10 years, we need to see a How to Train Your Dragon, right? Remade. Exactly the same, shot for shot. It's just so unnecessary. Now, like I said, there are a few exceptions to these live action remakes, but there happens to be something consistent about them, which makes them, well, it's that they're different. Cruella, Maleficent, Cinderella even, which I haven't seen Cinderella, but I've heard people, even at that time, praised it as, oh, it pops, it's vibrant, it's a new angle of these interesting villainesses or villains and side characters, which you get a background on, which maybe you don't need or don't want. I can make that separation if I really wanted to be a purist and just, no, to me, Cruella needs to be that Cruella from the original. These new films, like the 3 I just mentioned, there's something consistent, which they're a different angle, they're more evolved, which that too is becoming a trippy kind of beam to walk on, because when people think evolved, their minds start to go to the agenda of the modern extremists. I think it's ridiculous, and can I call it a crime that Disney went as far as to try and completely get rid of, exterminate previous works. Where we got to today was based off those works, which maybe they're dated, maybe they're wrong, but it's a part of our true past. And for Disney to completely get them off of the platform, or, manipulate and pervert existing works to something which doesn't include those, I think it's very wrong. And it's the equivalent to statues and nation capitals being torn down of historical figures for just trying to hide the truth instead of educating people. You could still keep these things and have people be educated, right? Or we're just gonna repeat the same mistakes. So anyways, bit of a tangent, but when I say the word evolve, I don't mean that it needs to be so catered to the mindset of, if that's mean, it shouldn't exist. Bull. I think that's some of the craziest, most extreme radical thinking which exists these days, and that's not what I think of evolved. When I want evolution of story or character, shouldn't just be for the sake of being, which is the main point here. But so anyways, this How to Train Your Dragon doesn't look like it's gonna be anything new. And yeah, it looks a little soulless, uncanny, that's my opinion. And that's where I'm gonna stop. And I wanna hear your guys' opinion. We have also Mufasa coming out. I wanna hear what you guys, if you're even excited for those. There's some big movies coming out in December. I could tell you Mufasa is nowhere close to my watch list, right? I'm gonna be watching remakes like Nosferatu, which has been remade multiple times, but it's by a new visionary director who has something to add. So we're gonna check that out. I hope you do too. Anyways, leave your comments below. If you like the video and you wanna see more, you know what to do. Catch you next time. Thanks.